Hey guys, welcome to the lactic acid fermentation video, which is the second type of fermentation that we are going to cover. So, the high level summary is that from one glucose, we are going to break it down into two lactic acids, and we will get 2 ATP in that process. And so the main difference with fermentation, the previous alcoholic fermentation, you can see is that we are missing that that carbon dioxide element to it. So I want to now erase that from your heads, and let's proceed into the details of lactic acid fermentation. So it just like the other alcoholic fermentation, we start with glucose, which is a 6-carbon molecule. And from glucose, we go through the exact same process of glycolysis. So we produce net ATP, net 2 ATP, and we also see something like this. Meanwhile, at the end, we end up with 2 pyruvic acids, which are each 3 carbon molecules. So 2 pyruvic acids. And let me highlight this. But this is where it gets different. We don't go through, so let me write that down. We don't go through decarboxylation. And this is why we didn't see that plus 2 carbon dioxide molecules we saw as in alcoholic fermentation. And instead, we go straight to 2 lactic acids. And so again, you see no decarboxylation, so it remains, well, each lactic acid remains a 3-carbon molecule. But here, what we see is that's right. And so this process where the NAD plus is then reused in glycolysis and it sustains the process of fermentation, that part is the same as alcoholic fermentation. So reused in glycolysis. Now, if I were to add a few side notes, the first is, well, actually, what is lactic acid in the first place, right? And it's a broad term. It's lactic, you can think of cheese, yogurt, right? And lactic acid just happened to be the most common, or one of the more common types of acids that you could find in cheese and yogurt and so forth. And so lactic acid, well, where does lactic acid fermentation happen? So 2 examples. Example 1 is, of course, we can talk about lactic acid bacteria. And so lactic acid bacteria, again, is a really general term, where it's not a specific type of bacteria, but bacteria, it's a general term applied to any bacteria that makes lactic acid by breaking down glucose or sugars. They're prokaryotes, and because they can't make energy on their own, they have to, what's a good way to put it? They have to attach themselves to other organisms and make energy by going through, or acquire energy by performing lactic acid fermentation. Another example that I gave in one of the previous videos is the human muscle cell. And so when we start exercising, we don't have enough oxygen, which means that less oxygen, no oxygen, we can't do cellular respiration, so we have to resort to fermentation. And in the case of human muscle cell, it goes through lactic acid fermentation. And this is the thing that causes that burning sensation when you exercise. And so the lactic acid is going to build up in the muscle. And what's going to happen is that lactic acid is then going to be sent to the liver via blood cells. And in that liver, that lactic acid is going to be converted into, that's right, pyruvic acids. And you can see where we're going here, right? Then it can be used in cellular respiration. Or it may be just converted back into glucose. So that was lactic acid fermentation in a nutshell, and I'll see you guys in the next video.